We have the TFT patch notes for patch 12.7, and this is the patch that the World Championships are going to be played on, so this is a super important patch. It's also a big one too. As you guys can see here, we have buffs to Scholar, Yordle, Ashe, Tryndamere, Seraphine, Galio, Zeri, and then for augments we have Electrocharge, Enchantress Soul, Force Score, Golden Ticket, High Five, Pirates, Tiny Titans, Windfall, and Woodland Charm. As for the nerfs, we have Twin Shot, Double Trouble, Hextech Heart, Irresistible Charm, Junkyard, Makeshift Armor, Sharpshooter, Sniper's Nest, So Small, Spellblade, Triforce, Thieving Rascals, and Twin Shot Soul. They're also removing Hextech Unity, Hextech Crest, Scholar Crest, and Woodland Trinket. My first thought so far is that I'm glad they're removing Scholar Crest. That one always felt a little weird to have, and I also found Woodland Trinket a little unintuitive to take. I also like how they nerfed a lot of the high problem augments such as Junkyard and So Small. I feel like some of these, they just like really force you into one thing, but they are super strong. So strong to the point where you'd kind of completely disregard everything else and just take that type of augment. Same with Irresistible Charm. Let's get on into the actual numbers. First off, we have the system changes. Oh, we only have one of them. Use the center emote in the emote wheel pre-game loadout to change what emotes plays when your tactician jumps out of the portals. All right, that's pretty cool. Now on to the large changes we have for the augments. Let's see. Double Trouble. Yeah, this one, whenever you get it, it is really good. It's a little tricky to play in a lot of cases, but the bonuses are just so strong that it doesn't matter that you're not playing the comp perfectly. So I feel that nerfing it is pretty called for. So AD, AP, Armor, and MR are being reduced by 5 at all levels. Electrocharge 1 is being changed a little bit. It is being buffed across the board by around 10. Electrocharge 2, also seeing the same changes. Same with Electrocharge 3, it's about like 10 or 15 for each of these. What I like about Electrocharge is that it is pretty takeable in a lot of team comps, so you have to be a little careful in buffing this because it's kind of flexible and fits in every type of comp. The only one that I feel like needs the most help is Electrocharge 3. I feel like 1 is fine and 2 is maybe needed a tiny bit. Electrocharge also no longer appears on stage 4-6. Now onto the next one, we have Enchantress Soul. It gives you an additional 4 gold now. Force Score is being changed from gold to silver. Force Score number of 4 costs is being changed from 4 to 3. I believe you can only get this one during stage 3, so this moving to silver won't change things like that dramatically because you can't get it all the time. Golden Ticket chance for free refresh is being buffed by 5%. Hextech Unity removed. Hextech Hard silver to gold. Hextech Crest removed. I feel like this one's fine. Like, dude, Hextech is just so strong in the early game that, yeah, nerfing it is probably the right thing to do. High Five is being changed from prismatic to gold. Yeah, this one just, it doesn't feel like a prismatic, you know? I'm debating, what if it gave you a random 2-star 5 cost? Like, would that be too powerful? It probably would be too powerful, but it would be interesting to see nonetheless. I wonder if that one would be a prismatic or gold one, or like just way too OP for like TFT in general. Irresistible Charm, silver to gold. Junkyard no longer appears, probably too strong for everything, but whatever. But like you could get like a 2-star 5 cost that like doesn't have anything to do with your comp, in which case you just get like 14 gold. That would feel pretty bad too, but it's definitely like hitting for a home run. Maybe that wouldn't be fun at all. But Irresistible Charm being moved from silver to gold. But yeah, this one is like an auto take if you're even like remotely close to going any sort of debonair comp. So yeah, I feel like moving silver to gold probably pretty fair. Junkyard no longer appears on stage 3-3. Junkyard amount of turns for a component change from 3 to 4. Yeah, I mean, running 2 scrap is so easy to do, and you get so many items from this. You just pretty much always took this whenever you saw it before. I'm a fan of the nerf. Makeshift Armor 3, Armor and Magic Resist being changed from 80 to 75. I feel like Makeshift has always been pretty strong because in this set, you haven't really had to prioritize that many tank items, which means that your tanks generally don't have any items at all. You're focusing more on your damage items, so Makeshift just has a lot of value from that. Pirates, 1 gold drop on kill chance being changed from 50% to 66. Probably still going to be bad. Mercenary is just one of those things where like you just don't get that many kills, so it's just really hard to balance this. Scholar Crest removed. Yeah, it was a boring crest. It doesn't really help the unit you have it on. Sharpshooter Twin Shot tier is being changed from gold to prismatic. Ooh, that is a big change. Oh, they don't give any compensation buffs to it either. I wonder if this one's still good. It would depend on how they change the other sharpshooters in the rest of the patch, so we'll check that out. Sniper's Nest tier being changed from silver to gold. So small dodge chance being nerfed a little bit. Yeah, this one's pretty, like, it's ridiculous strong, right? Spellblade, ability power scaling on basic attack after casting and abilities with a slight nerf there. Triforce, attack speed being nerfed a little bit by 10% across the board. That's actually like quite a bit, not a little bit. But Triforce does other stuff as well. Triforce gives you like health and starting mana, so this is just nerfing one part of the augment. Thieving Rascals no longer appears on stage 3-3, and the chance to get a Yordle to spawn with a pilfered component being nerfed from 40% to 33%. Tiny Titans, gold to silver. Twin Shot Soul, additional gold, 8 to 4. Oh, by the way, on Tiny Titans, I feel like this has been like the most overrated augment of the set. So buffing it, in my mind, makes sense. I see a lot of people taking it, and I'm like, is it really that great? I always felt it was pretty bad apart from on stage 4-6, but they removed that in the last patch, so you couldn't get it there. So yeah, this one, it just always, to me, it didn't feel so good, but people like freaking out about health augments, and I just prefer the metabolic accelerator like so much more than this one. Twin Shot Soul, additional gold, 8 to 4. Windfall, 18 to 20, 30 to 35, 45 to 55. Windfall, I feel like, is super hard to balance, right? Because it's the type of augment that you take when you have no better options, so it's always going to slightly underperform everything else, right? There's no getting around that. However, you don't want it to suck too much when you do take it, but you also can't buff it too hard that it is your go-to prismatic whenever you see it in a selection. So fine balance between the two. That's why I think they only gave it a minor buff instead of like a medium one. Woodland Charm health being changed from 1600 to 1800, and then the Woodland Trinket just completely removed. Now onto the traits. So Scholar mana is being buffed at 4 and 6 Scholar, just like a small mana buff. I feel like that's fine. 2 Scholar, really easy to splash, so everyone plays that already, don't need to buff that. But 4 and 6, you don't see that many of those. Twin Shot attack damage. This one is being nerfed at, I think this is 4 Twin Shot. It's like 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Yeah, so 4 Twin Shot and 5 Twin Shot being nerfed slightly. It's weird. Remember when they buffed this? Like the late Twin Shots, and people were like, oh, no one's gonna play them because like no one was playing Twin Shot at the time, and then everyone started playing them, and now they're nerfing it again. It's just funny because sometimes people overreact or underreact to certain changes, and it's interesting to see it being changed back and forth. Yordle, 6 mana reduction, 25% to 30%. I feel like this one is fair. This one is fair because, yeah, you really, I think they mentioned it up here. They nerfed the Yordle augments because those were the ones you were really going for whenever you go for Yordle comms, and then regular Yordles without the augments, like, you need to give it something in return, you know? Units tier 2, yeah, because, like, you just never played the Yordles without getting the really good Yordle augments. And when I say play Yordles, I don't mean play it in the early game for econ, I mean, like, playing actual, like, Yordles in your late game team comp. Like, you never did it without the augments before. Units tier 2... Ashe bug fix. Ashe's mana is now 30 out of 60 as intended. Ashe's volley damage is being buffed a little bit, 100% to 110. And then Corki bombardment damage, it is being nerfed at 1, 2, and 3 stars. So that is pretty significant. So a lot of nerfs to Twin Shots. Corki got hit, Sharpshooter got hit, and yeah, I think they changed something else. Like the Triforce got hit as well. That one is great for Twin Shots also. Units tier 3, Tryndamere spinning slash base damage is being buffed. Yeah, I want to see more Tryndamere this set. I have not seen him shine that much. Like, when he is being played, he's being played as like a sidekick to Warwick, you know? It isn't the same. It's not really like an actual true Tryndamere carry. But I do want to see more of him, so maybe they need to buff the 3-star version more and not so much the 1 and 2-star. Units tier 4, Draven spinning axe damage is being, let's see, buffed at 1 and 2-star. Okay. Yeah, Draven's tricky. He's good in metas where you need high single target damage, and that's just not the case right now. So I feel like he's more of like a bad in the meta than just like flat out bad. Seraphine, mana buff, 80 out of 150 to 70 out of 130. This one is interesting. I've seen Seraphine dominate a lot of past metas before. They weren't really that fun, in my opinion, because she healed everything and killed everything. So I wonder if this is going to bring Seraphine comps back. What I did not like about it is that you only really needed 1 or 2 items on her instead of like 3 very specific ones compared to all the other carries, and she was always solid in those. But Innovators did get hit a lot, so Innovators are much weaker, so maybe they need the Seraphine buff to kind of bring them back a little bit, but I feel like innovators weren't that bad, you know, but I guess having a more reliable carry would be kind of cooler though. Sivir, Ricochet, bounce, attack, damage scaling is being nerfed by 10%. Ricochet attack speed nerfed a little bit at 1 and 2 star. So there are a lot of Hex Tech nerfs. I feel like if they just hit Sivir instead of the other Hex Tech, maybe hit Hex Tech a little bit in the early game, that might have been better because people can play Sivir in the Striker comp just as well as the Hextech comp. And I wonder if this isn't enough to hit the Striker version. The Hextech one definitely got hit quite a bit. But this Striker one, I feel like that one's still going to be pretty good. I know you don't want to nerf anything into the ground. But maybe I would have focused more on Sivir than like removing all the Hextech augments instead. Units tier 5, Galio Colossal Entrance percent, max health damage 8 to 10%, Zeri attack speed buffed a little bit. We have not seen Zeri really pop off. She's kind of just used as like, oh, you just happen to hit a Zeri 2 in the late game, like sure, I'll use it if I'm already going Debonair, but I've not seen people go like, yo, I want to go Zeri, like 1-star Zeri's good enough for me. So that is welcome to see. I also haven't seen like, yeah, not many Galios since his changes because they changed the way he worked when the set started. Now onto the small changes. Built different attack speed being nerfed a little bit. Yeah, built different. It's always so weird, man. Like last set, it was super strong early, then it was like really weak later on. This set, it was weak early and then strong in the middle. And then now we're at the later part of the set. So they nerfed it a little bit because it was too strong during the middle parts. It'll be interesting to see where this change kind of brings everything at the end. It really depends on like how good people are on a patch, I feel, and what units are in this set. Featherweights no longer appears on 4-6. Keepers 1 and 2 adjacent ally shield value is being buffed a little bit. Lifelong learning, dude, I hate keepers this set, so I'm glad that they are buffing it because there's a lot of punishment for grouping your team up together right now. So yeah, that's why I don't really like it. But yeah, it is being buffed, so maybe it is better now. Lifelong Learning no longer appears on stage 3-3. Luden's Echo no longer appears on 4-6. Mercenary Heart and Crest no longer appears on 4-6 when it's too late to start stacking losses effectively. I'm surprised it took this long to change this one. Rich Get Richer no longer appears on stage 3-3. Stored Power no longer appears on stage 3-3. Trade Sector no longer on 3-3. True Twos no longer appears on 3-3 either. Underdogs doesn't appear on 4-6. And Verdant Veil no longer appears on 1-4. Great changes there. Like some of these just felt so horrible to see later on or like early on, depending on like whether it's Verdant Veil or some of the other ones like Stored Power or something, or Rich Get Richer. So yeah, that is very welcome. Units tier 1, Caitlyn max mana buff 110 to 100. I always wasn't a fan of the Caitlyn nerfs beforehand, so I'm glad that they're putting a little more power back into it. It's not much, but you know, I'll take it for now. Units tier 2, Talon armor and magic resist being nerfed by 5. Talon's like one of the type of comps right now where the super best players aren't playing it, but everyone else is, and the everyone else category is performing pretty good with it. So yeah, it does make sense depending on which type of player you're catering to. Units tier 3, Cho'Gath health is being buffed a little bit, 700 to 750. I don't think this is going to do that much, but you know, I guess it's something. Senna piercing darkness base damage 80 to 100, 120 to 140, 180 to 200. Oh, one thing I would have done instead was maybe buff his resistances. You have to be a little careful though, because he does stack a lot of health, but resistances are a much bigger buff than health to Cho'Gath. So if you buffed his armor or MR, either or both by like 5, I feel like it does more than giving him 50 health because he like stacks his things. Also 5 is just an arbitrary number. I don't know if they're allowed to do like smaller increments or something. Units tier 4, Ahri Orbit Deception damage 125, 135, 190, 200, 450 staying the same. I feel like Ahri is fine, but I do want to see some Syndicate Ahri. I see a lot of Arcanist Ahri, not so much Syndicate Ahri. I feel like the Syndicate version is cooler to play, so I would want to see a way to kind of buff that a little bit without buffing Syndicates too much, because then you buff Syndicate Spatula too much. But yeah, apart from like very specific starts, I don't see many people going for Syndicates recently. Jhin max mana nerf. Who would have thought you needed to nerf this? They buffed it way too much last patch. I'm glad they're nerfing it. I'll be honest, guys, I don't know why they didn't just make it 60 the first time. It used to be 70. So it used to be 70 mana, changed it to 50. It was too strong. Now they changed it to 60. I don't know why they skipped 60, but I'm glad that they finally changed it back. I just didn't think it needed a patch to kind of do that. Kha'Zix's Void Assault Jump speed increased, and then Victor max mana nerf 140 to 145. All right. Overall, like a lot of stuff happened. We'll take a look at the bug fixes before we do the summary. Maybe some of these gives us more insights on some of the other changes. So Ash's bug fix, Ash's mana is now 3 out of 60 as intended. Mobile tutorial Kale now uses the correct portrait. Fix an issue, reducing some augments appearance rates on stage 1-4. No longer compensating. Vhagar now correctly only attacks once between casts, down from 2 when he gains enough mana to repeat casts via the following: Blue Battery 1 plus Blue Battery 2. And 6 Yordles plus Radiant Blue buff. I've never actually tried this, but if you guys have gotten this in your game, I mean, that would be completely insane, right? But yeah, overall, like twin shots, I'm a little afraid of. It's interesting how they touch Corki the most. They didn't directly touch Lucian, but they did touch him when they affected Triforce. Triforce, I don't think it's that big of a change, but it is something, you know. They also touched Double Trouble. Both comps work really well with that. Hextech got a pretty big nerf. I wish they just, again, touched Sivir more, because I feel like Sivir was more the issue rather than the Hextech trait, because Sivir worked in many different comps before. Windfall, I'm glad about. Tiny Titans, yeah, I'm glad about that as well. I always thought this was, again, like one of the more overrated augments. Pirate's never going to be useful, but yeah, I'm excited for the Tryndamere buffs. The Jhin nerfs make a lot of sense. Maybe we see more Zeris in sniper comps, because like I want to see like a 1-star Zeri being like sort of stable, kind of like how in other sets like a 1-star legendary, if it was like the exact one you needed, you could still play it and still be pretty decent with it. Obviously, like getting 2-star legendaries isn't that realistic in a lot of your games, and if you do get them, like you generally place really high in those. But overall, this is going to be the patch they play the Worlds patch on. I wonder what their restrictions are on the B patch. I don't really think they mention it here. It actually looks like they are going to do it if something is out of line, so it is a little risky. It is a pretty big patch, so there must be something that is hard to like kind of discover as you're testing it, because like of course you just don't have as many people as like the actual player base, right? So they probably will do a B patch on this. I wonder when the championships actually are. Do they say it here? No, they don't. I'll try to find it and post it in like the text above here. But hopefully you guys will enjoy this patch. I'll be coming out with the meta snapshot on Friday as per usual. And yeah, I'm pretty excited about the World Championships as well. Lots of good players there, obviously. I think the last chance qualifiers are happening like this week or something like that. But I'll double check on that too. But thanks so much for watching, guys. Let me know what comps you are looking most forward to playing in this patch, and I will see you all later.